Alright, let us start with the session. So the session is a deep dive into Power BI level 1. So as I said, this is going to be a series of webinars. So I'll be starting with the basic and intermediate concepts. So that's the reason I just put level 1. So in upcoming webinar series, I'll be changing to level 2 and 3 to cover intermediate and most advanced concepts. About myself, I'm Harikaran. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm a lead consultant in Your SQLman India Private Limited. I also certified in MSBI Solution Export. I'm working in SAP HANA and SAP BA Stack as well. And this is my blog. You can check out my blog to see more concepts about Power BI, SQL Server and Azure related concepts. And I have a Twitter, so you can follow me in Twitter. You can raise your questions. I'll try to answer as much as possible. And this is my email ID, hari@yoursqlman.com. If you have any queries on Power BI or SQL Server related concepts, you can directly send an email. I'll be responding you to. Okay, these are the topics that we are going to cover today. Introduction to Power BI and languages, and we will talk about data connectivity and what are the different modes available under data connectivity, and we'll try to cover some additional features. So this session I just targeted only with Power BI desktop. So as we are creating a Power BI report, we will be starting with Power BI desktop. So I'll try to cover what are the features available in Power BI in this whole session, and if anything missed, then we'll try to cover on next webinar. Alright, so introductions. This is going to be business intelligence tool, and as part of this Power BI we have three components: Power BI Cloud Services, Power BI Desktop and Power BI Mobile App. So when we compare with other business intelligence tool in industry, Power BI is getting better and better because they are keep releasing the features every month. So the features not just for Power BI Cloud Services, the features applicable for Power BI Desktop and Power BI Mobile App. So if you are getting an update, you need to upload or you need to download your latest Power BI Desktop, and you can utilize all the latest features. As same as Power BI Mobile App, you have to download the latest features and you can utilize all the latest features in Power BI Mobile App. So the features includes security wise and the latest features on data connectors and even visualizations, and we have a lot of features they are keep upgrading or keep introducing in Power BI. So Power BI team is working hard to improve the Power BI with compete with the other business intelligence tool in industry. So when we talk about Power BI, so initially the Power BI was released back in 2014. So at that time it was just an add-on to Office 365. So at that time we used to have a Excel add-ins. So we used to have a Power Query, Power Pivot and Power View and Power Map. So these are the separate add-ins for Excel. So we have to use these add-ins to create a Power BI report, and we need to share and collaborate with SharePoint users in Office 365. So later 2015 they have come up with a standalone Power BI tool, which is nothing but Power BI Services, cloud-based one. So on top of that tool they have introduced Power BI Desktop to start develop the data model and reports and publish to the cloud services, and Power BI Mobile App. So since we are talking about Power BI Desktop majorly, so Power BI Desktop is just integrated components of same Excel add-ins. So the components are nothing but Power Query, Power Pivot and same Power View, Power Q&A, Power Map. So we don't have a Power View as a separate one, so still it is just an add-in for Excel. So if you take Power BI Desktop, we have a Power Query, Power Pivot and Power Q&A, and we have some map capabilities. So when you see this diagram, we have different data sources and we are trying to connect different data sources from Power Query, and we are doing a transformations and we are preparing the data for data model. So once we are done with the Power Query, we are moving to Power Pivot. In Power Pivot we are creating a complex logics to solve the business problems. So once we have created a calculated columns with complex logics, that will be ready for reporting. So we can start build the report in Power BI desktop and we can publish to the Power BI cloud services. So from there we can create a dashboards. We have an option to pin each individual report elements, and we can make it as a new dashboard and we can share it with anyone who are all in Azure Active Directory or the part of Office 365. So we need to check the comparison. So if you are working with SQL Server stack, BA stack, we have different components under SQL Server BA stack. So why this Power BI is popular compared than other BI tool? The reason is actually we are doing all the stuff in Power BI itself. If you compare with SQL Server stack, we have an option called a data load. We need to get the data from different sources. So there we need to use a SSIS tool, SQL Server Integration Services tool. So to extract the data, to transform the data and prepare the data for model, or to load the data into data warehouse. So once we loaded the data into data warehouse, we are using SSRS to build the reports. So on top of that, if you want to have any complex modeling or complex logics to be implemented, then we are using SSAS, analysis services. So we are creating a data source view and the dimensions, facts, and we are creating a cubes. On top of cubes we are creating a perspectives. So we are doing all these stuffs with the different tools. At last we are using SSRS to create a reports on top of SSAS or direct tables. So here you can see we used 3 different tools. So for SSIS, SSRS, SSAS. So once we deployed the report, if you want to share that report with everyone in the organization, so we'll be using a SharePoint to share and collaborate. So if you compare these things in SQL Server stack and with the Power BI stack, you can see to load the data we are using a Power Query editor. It is not an external tool, it's a tool which is there in Power BI desktop. And for data modeling we are using Power Query editor, and to create complex measures we are using Power BI DAX queries, DAX engine is there. Then we have a reporting. So as you know, we can create a Power BI report. It is a self-service BI tool, so we can create a report. If you want to share and collaborate with other team members or other colleagues, you can use powerbi.com, where you can publish that report into Power BI cloud services. From there you can share it with anyone. So if you simply compare this SQL Server stack with Power BI, everything in a single tool, as that is the reason actually it is getting popular, and even for each tool it is getting more features update. So this is the main reason the customers are looking for Power BI. Still many of the customers are trying to migrate from different BI tool to into Power BI. So this is just a basic introduction to Power BI. Languages. So when we talk about languages, this is not a language about the regular language, Tamil, English, like that. It is not like that. So the language which we are using in Power BI. So if you take SQL Server, we have a databases, tables, and we are storing the data and we are retrieving the data through T-SQL statements. So we are using a structured query language to access the data which is stored in the databases. Like here we have 2 different languages. So the first language is M language, the other one is DAX language. So most of them know that Power BI is using DAX, but I'm not sure how many of you know that Power BI is using M language. M language is nothing but, again, it is a Power Query language. So M is an informal language, so we can call it as a Power Query language. So when we get the data from different sources, it is going to use Power Query language or M script behind the scenes, and whatever the transformations that you are working on Power Query editor will be also considered or converted as a M script in the behind the scene. So all the transformations or extraction will be converted as a M script, and you can see the script. So once you have done everything, your model is ready, in the sense you can start building the calculated columns which is necessary. If it is not necessary, still you can directly go to the Power BI report and you can start build the reports. So you need to know these two languages. So I'll be covering the basic concepts about M language and DAX language. Let us talk about languages. First one is M, or Power Query language. It is a scripting language for Power Query. So it is going to run on top of data transformation engine. So if you see Power BI, so we have a different engines altogether working for a data extraction, data transformation, and producing the reports. So this M language is running on top of data transformation engine. So M is nothing but data mashup. So we are getting the data from different sources, and we are massaging the data and applying the transformations and preparing the final model. So on top of model, we are doing another calculations or any other complex logics using DAX. M is going to be a step-by-step language structure. So it is nothing but if you are seeing M script, it will be easy to understand. So when you create a new transformations, it is going to create a new line item, new line of script. So you can easily understand which line of script is pointing to which transformations. So you no need to learn M. Actually you need to learn M, but since Power BI desktop is getting better, they are having a more transformations in a wizard level itself. So you can do all the transformations by just doing single click, or by choosing the wizard type. So in rare cases, if you want to have a complex logics on a data extraction and transformations, at the time you need to write a M script. So otherwise it will be easy to create M script by drag and drop. I'll show that how to see the M script, and let's see what are the transformations, few transformations, how those transformations are converted as a M script and became the scheme. So when we talk about M script or Power Query language, we need to know the other concept or other feature, which is nothing but native query or query folding. So which is nothing but when we give a workload to the data transformation engine, so few workloads or query engine pushes the work to the data sources whenever possible. So it means if you are having a table with 100 million records, that table is from SQL Server, and you want to create a dashboard or report on top of that table. So while considering the reporting perspective, you just need to have only 600 or 700,000 of records. If that is the case, you need to get all the records, and you need to filter over in Power BI desktop, and you need to start building the report. So that will be the usual procedure. But when we go with query folding, actually it is going to push your work, the work in the sense the compute or resources that utilizing for extracting the data and filtering that much amount of data. So that query engine is going to push your compute or resources to the data source itself. Data source in the sense here I said SQL Server. So that extraction and filtering process will take some amount of memory. So those works will be pushed towards to the data source itself. So it means the work which is happening on Power BI local machine or desktop is going to less. So it is a default option. You no need to configure externally. So whenever you use a SQL Server or any other relational data sources, you can directly see this option whether this query folding is applied or not. If this query folding is applied, you are getting a improved performance, because you are trying to consume only less resources in your local machine, because you are using a SQL server resources to use some of the transformations. And again, this is going to be depends on source system. So this query folding is not possible or not applicable for all the data sources. So if you are using a Excel sheet or a CSV file or text file, there is no place to send these compute or push the work to the environment, because we are using these applications, Excel or text file or CSV file in a local resources. So we will not have this native query option for those kind of resources. So when you create a new transformation, if you try to see this native query option, it will be disabled for those data sources. And this is limited transformations. Limited transformation in the sense, so for example, we have 100 transformations available in Power BI, just approximate number. So if you are using SQL Server is going to map the transformation which you are applying on the Power BI desktop, will try to see the same functionality available in SQL Server. So if that functionality is available, then it is going to do the query folding. So it is going to push that transformation work towards to the data sources. If that particular logic is not available, or the particular functionality is not available in SQL Server, if that is available in Power BI desktop, then it is going to accommodate everything, all the resources in your local itself. It is not going to query folding. It is not going to send the work to the data sources or SQL Server. So that's the reason it has limited transformations. Some of the data sources, so these are the data sources where this query folding is supporting. So you can see query folding is enabled when we use these data sources. For example, relational sources, SQL Server, Oracle, or any other relational databases, then OData sources, Active Directory and Exchange sources, and SDFS, SD Insight. Alright, so you can see that option in Power BI Power Query Editor. So when you right click on any of the transformations that you applied, you can see an option called View Native Query. So I'll show that how to see this query folding, and let us check whether the query folding is applied for the selected transformations. If not, then what is the case? So I'll be talking about partial query folding as well. Then let us talk about DAX. So data analysis expression language. So DAX is already a popular language which we are using for SQL Server analysis service, tabular model, then Power Pivot in Excel, and now we are using in Power BI. It is going to be a functional language. So it is easy to understand, but it has so much of functions and libraries available within DAX. So again, to learn everything, to learn all the functionalities about DAX, it will be a bit complicated, but it will be better to understand DAX, as we'll be using DAX for complex business scenarios. So this is going to run on top of analytical engine as like SSAS, tabular model. And if you are working with Excel, and if you are familiar with Excel functions, then you can try to compare or easily understand these DAX scripts. Okay, we talked about M and DAX languages. So let us try to understand a bit like which language is better. So when you raise this question, I'll say it is depends. So we can't compare this M and DAX because they have their own space to run their query. For example, if you take M, so that is specialized for data preparation and data transformation scripts. If you take DAX, then it is for providing solutions to analytical problems or analytical issues or business logics. So each has a separate space to play with it. So we need to learn both M and DAX for a better understanding, or to create complex logics in terms of data extraction, transformation, as well as for business logics. Okay, let us talk about data connectivity. Okay, so under data connectivity we have three different modes. The one is import mode, and direct query, then live connection. So when we talk about these three, we just need to compare the different modes: import, direct query, and live connection. So when you talk in general, import is going to be different, direct query and live connection is almost same. So almost same in the sense it is going to use the data gateway, because this is going to point your on-premises data sources. So whereas import, it is going to take all the data within that report or data set itself, so it is not going to directly connect with on-premises, as it is holding the data set within the report. So when we talk about these things, these three modes, we just need to see what are the difference between direct query and live connection, comparison, import. So in general, if you take import, it is a ETL, so we can extract the data from different sources and do the transformation and prepare the model. So again, when you create a report using import option, you can still download the data, so you will have option to data download. Whereas in direct query, you can select the specific tables. For example, if you are using SQL Server, you can point to the specific databases. In under specific databases, you have option to select multiple tables. So when you choose direct query and when you build a report, so if you publish that report into Power BI cloud services, you will not have option to download the data, because all the data are residing under on premises itself. So it is not taking your data to cloud services or online. So we are just connecting these two with the gateway. We have a personal gateway and data gateway. So using that gateway, we are trying to get the data from on premises and pushing that report query related data to the Power BI. So we don't have option to download the data. So query is triggered from report visuals. So whenever you render the report in powerbi.com, so if that report is direct query mode, it is going to get the data at the time only. So when you refresh the report, when you have a report visuals or a table of figures, at the time only it is going to create a query, and that query will be sent towards to the on premises through gateway, and it is going to fetch only that related data and it will show to you. And live connection is almost same. It is going to explore source objects from report server, no data download. Again, it is queries triggered from report visuals. Next one is supported data sources. So when you choose import option, you can accommodate multiple data sources in a single report. So for example, if you are using SQL Server with import option, and still you can connect Excel as a source, and again you can connect Oracle as a source. You can combine all the data sources, all the tables related from these different sources, and you can create a model. On top of the model, you can create a report. So that is possible with import option. Whereas in direct query, if you are selecting a single SQL Server databases, then you can use only that specific databases. Even you can't allow with other databases on the same server. Same as for live connection, again it is going to be a single sources. If you want to accommodate, again it will give you the prompt, whereas you need to convert that direct query or live connection into import to have a multiple data sources. Next one is maximum number of data sources per report. Again it's the same, so you can accommodate unlimited data sources. Then next one is I just missed supported data sources. So under direct query, we have SQL Server, Azure SQL databases, data warehouse, SAP HANA, Oracle, Teradata. So on top of this, actually still they have included few more preview version of data sources, so which you can check it on Power BI features, Power BI desktop features, preview features. So still that is accepting for the latest data sources, comes under direct query. And data transformations, so as I said, Power Query. So Power Query has a lot of transformations. If you are using import option, you can use all the transformations. Whereas in direct query, it is going to support only partial transformations. The transformations, the logic which is supported in SQL Server or any other relational databases, only that specific transformations can be used for your report. Rest of the transformations which is available by default in Power BI desktop, it won't be supported. And same for live connection, you will not have an option to see the transformation at all. So you can't create or modify anything on live connection. And mashup capabilities, so under import we have a merge option, append parameterized queries. Here we have a merge option. If you have two different tables, we have option to merge or append, whereas in live connection we don't have any option. Modeling capabilities, so we have advanced modeling like calculated columns, measures, and creating hierarchies. Everything is possible with import mode. In direct query, we can create a calculated column or measures, or we can change the column data types. In live connection, we will not have any option, so we have to create everything on the SSIS tabular or multi-dimensional model itself through SQL Server data tools itself. So once we created a cube or a model, we can just connect with the model and we can start creating a report. We can't create any functions which we talked here: modeling capabilities, mashup capabilities, data transformations. Those three options are not supported for live connection, which is nothing but SQL Server analysis source. Then some of the additional informations. So as I said, we have a modeling capabilities available for import and even for direct query. So this is the look and feel. When you have a different table selected from data sources, you have an option to connect each table with respective cardinality and with the respective column. And again, if you connected multiple data sources, if there is no relationship on database itself, still you can make it through this relationship tab and you can create a model. Manipulate data. So we have option to enter the data manually. So if you want to create a report with some static data, you have option to create a simple table with static manual data. And date table, so we have option to create, so most of the analysis are going to be based on date. So you have option to create a date table. So date table can be created in Power Query Editor using M language itself, or you can use a DAX language to create a date table. So there are two different places where you can create these date tables. Even if you want to create a column concatenation, you can do in DAX, or you can do it in M language itself. And synonyms, so synonyms is nothing but giving a proper name or valid name to the columns on the table. So this will be helpful when you have a Power Query Power Q&A. So Power Q&A is a capability that you can ask your questions naturally in English. It is going to give you the results. So it is going to read all your data set and you can raise your questions related to the data. It is going to give you the results. For example, you have a table called fact items. So when you type a query like how many items are there, so if you say items instead of fact items, the original table name is fact items. When you write something like items, it will be difficult to understand what we are asking in Power Q&A. So to avoid that situations, we can create a synonym for fact items as an item. So when we type item, it will identify easily, so it will give you the results. I'll show where we can see this Power Q&A, which is only applicable for dashboards. Okay, I'll show the demo so far that we discussed. Okay, I just open Power BI desktop tool. So the first concept we'll try to discuss mQuery. So I'll try to connect get data with, so these are the different data sources. So under all, you can see all the data sources. Still they have categorized as file, database, Azure, online services and others. So under others, you can see an option called blank query. So this is a place where we can write our M script. So but now I'm going to choose SQL Server database. So under SQL Server database, I have a two option. So this is a data connectivity mode which we discussed, import or direct query. So I just need to type my server name. So if I choose import, it is going to take all the data that the table which I'm going to select. Click OK. We'll discuss what is direct query. Okay, these are the databases under my SQL Server 2016 data server, and I'll try to add a few tables to see how the M scripts are working. Alright, so once I selected these tables, I can click load. So it is going to load all the 4 tables with data on it. Since I selected the import option, so it is going to load everything. Okay, here in right hand side you can see all the tables. So we just need to go to edit queries. We just need to click edit queries. So this is a place for Power Query Editor. Alright, so in left hand side you can see the tables which we selected. So each table has considered as separate query. So when I select that, I can see the data on it. So we just extracted the data from SQL Server sources. So to see what is the M script behind the scene for this extraction, you can click this advanced editor and you can see the script. So this is the M script. So it will start with let and it will end with in. So under let they have specified the server name SQL Server 2016, and this is my database name with the data, and we just extracted fact internet sales. As I just selected only fact internet sales, it is showing how this fact internet sales is extracted. So this is the M language, M query. So once we got all these tables, by default these two transformations are applied. So this is the source one. So if you see this one, so here source, so source is nothing but this step, and next one is navigation, this step. So I'm going to create another transformation on top of this. Let us take a table product. Let us try to apply the transformation uppercase. I just want to see that name everything in uppercase, so I applied a new transformation called upper text on this column. So to see what is the M script for this uppercase text, so this is M script. So dim product is the table, and English product name is the column which I selected, and text dot upper is the function which applied to get the upper cases. If you want to see whole script, still you can go to advanced editor and you can see the script. This is the transformation which we applied. So if I want to add another transformation, for example, so I just want to see only true. So the transformation called filter rows, we filtered a few rows, so it has created another step. So if you see the M script, this is M script. So upper text is the final transformation, so that transformation holding the final data. So on top of data, it is going to filter only true for this particular column. So like that you can create multiple or different transformations to get your proper data to support your data model, and on top of that data model to create a report. So again, it is going to be on business cases. If the data is not clear, you need to do this cleansing with these transformations. So here these are the options, these are the transformations which you can utilize. Choose columns, remove columns, rows. Under transform you have many transformations. So we have a mathematical. So again, these transformations are based on the column data type. So if I choose any column with the date time, so these three transformations will be enabled. If I choose any column with number, then this number column transformations will be enabled. And we have option to add a new column, and we have a custom function to create a new column. And if this formula bar is not enabled by default, if you want to enable it, you can go to view and you can click this formula bar. Alright, so this is about just M query and the transformations on Power Query Editor. Next we need to know native query. So in native query also we are going to see in the same screen. So if you are applied all the transformations, if you see that this particular query or table is good to go with creating a report, you can just click close and apply. So it means it is going to apply all the steps, all the transformations that we applied, and those changes will be reflected on the fields. So we can use these fields and we can start build the report. So regarding native query, so as I said, for each transformation it is going to check the native query. So for example, if I click uppercase, this is one of the transformation. If I right click, I can see view native query. So since I am using SQL Server, so I can see these options. For example, if I have a same table in Excel or CSV file, I can't see this option. I can see this option, but that will be disabled actually. So now you can see this option is enabled. So if I click this option, you can see this T-SQL select statement. So here we applied this upper transformations. So what it is going to do, actually it is going to check for this transformation. So this transformation is going to convert the lowercase or any cases to uppercase. So we have a same functionality available in T-SQL statements. So it is trying to use that statement. So that's the reason actually we are seeing this script. So here whenever we load the data, whenever we apply this transformation, it is going to send all these work to the data source, SQL Server data sources. If you want to monitor whether it is performing good or whether SQL Server is taking this particular load, you can use SQL Profiler and you can monitor that. In SQL Profiler, you can see the same select statement executed whenever you load and do the transformations. Alright, so on next one we have a filtered row. So if I right click on filtered row, we have a same option available in SQL Server. So we can use where functionality or where class. So you can see here where class is applied. So it is trying to map the same functionality which is available on relational data sources or whatever data sources you are choosing. Alright, let us try to use another transformation. So I'll go with capitalize each word. So we need to know whether the same functionality is available on SQL Server. If that functionality is available on SQL Server, then it is going to fold this particular transformation to SQL Server. Otherwise, if I right click, I can see whether it has query folded or not. If this is disabled, then it is not using SQL Server for computing this particular transformation. So this is disabled. It means we don't have a proper functionality available in SQL Server. So it means whatever the capitalized each word is work is going to be occupied or utilized the resources on this laptop or machine, which is where Power BI desktop is running. So here until this one we are sending all the resources, all the compute to the SQL Server. So now after this we got nothing. So we are going to do all the stuffs in Power BI itself, in local resources itself. So this is going to be a partial query folding. So until this we query folded to the SQL Server or whatever data sources. After that it is not doing. So it is partially query folded. So when you create a new transformation or when you apply a new transformation, we need to understand how these transformations should be used. So we need to know how this query folding can be utilized wisely. So for example, you have millions of records and you want to do multiple transformations, not just filtering rows uppercase. You want to do multiple transformations. You need to understand which transformations will do the query folding. So you have to do that transformation first, and after completing all the query folded transformations, you can start utilizing the other transformations which are not query folded, so that we can send the resources or compute as much as to the SQL Server or whatever data sources we are using. So rest of the queries, the final set will be less number of records or less number of tables. So if that is the case, we can utilize that in-memory local machine. Alright, so this is about native query and query folding. Next we'll talk about DAX. So before going to DAX, I just want to show you the another transformation, just a simple transformation. I'll just click close and apply. SQL import. Alright, in your business cases you may have a table with a different format. You want to do the transformation to convert into a proper format so that you can utilize all these visualizations for your report. For example, I have a table like this. I have a table with the name 2007, 6, 5 and a department. So my requirement is I want to create a report with x-axis as a year, and again these values are y-axis. So if that is the requirement, if these values are on a different column, I just need to make it as a single column, because our report visualization, the charts is going to accept only the column which in a proper order, so that we can see the proper results. So if you have this kind of scenario, you need to convert as like this. So you need to use the transformation called unpivot columns. So you need to choose whatever the column you want to pivot in the sense like so it is going to convert your column into rows. So here you can go to transform, and we can see the option called unpivot columns. So once you have converted, you can see the results as like this: name, department and the attribute. It has converted all the columns into rows. So here you can see all the years and respective values. So you can name these columns properly, and you can close and apply. Now you can start build this report. So I can use here as a x-axis and the value as a y-axis. I can get the result as like this, whereas in a previous cases we got to see how those can be converted as like this. So in previous cases it will be difficult to get the expected results, so we just need to use that transformation to expect the chart as like this. Alright, so next we'll see the DAX formulas. So if you want to see the M query, just repeating, you need to go to edit queries. So if you want to create any calculated columns using DAX, you can directly create from this place itself under report section itself. So you can right click any of the query or fields. So this is my one of the query. Under that I have a different fields. So if I want to create a new calculated column for this table, I can create it here itself by doing right click, and I can choose new column or new measure. Alright, if I choose new measure, it is going to give that formula bar where we can type our DAX queries. So we don't have any wizard type or GUI type as like in M query. So we have to manually type using these DAX expressions and functions. So alright, if I want to type total amount, so if I just let me show the very basic DAX formula. So if I type anything, it is going to show me the available functions related with S and U. So like that you can see what are the functions if you want to use, you can type it over there, and it is going to show that respective intelligence, and you can use that respective function. For in this case I just want to use only sum, so let us take a very basic one. So here I just want to have a sum of sales amount, so I can choose that and I can close this. So I just created a simple calculator column using measure. So if I select this, I can see the result. So this is sum of total sales amount. So now I created a DAX calculator column. So we have another place where we can create a DAX calculator columns. So you can see these three options. The second option is data. So if I click data, see it is going to show the data available in this query. So these are the columns available in this query. So if I want to create any column or any calculated column, you can directly create from here itself. So I can right click and I can do new measure or new column, or I can create a new measure or new column here itself. So the one of the best thing is actually if you create a column in this window, you can compare the results here itself. So you can see the each line item, and you can see the created calculated column or calculated measure, whereas here you just need to drag and drop and you can to see the results. So that is the difference. From here itself you can see these two options enabled, new measure or new column. So this is how you need to create a calculator columns using DAX scripts. Alright, next one is we just need to see the comparison, import, direct query and live connection. Alright, let me open my another report. So far we just saw everything as a SQL import. Alright, so under import option, as I said, as we discussed, we have all the functionalities, so we can use all the transformations, we can use we can see the relationship model, and we can create a DAX calculator columns. So everything is possible with import option. I'll show the other one, which is nothing but direct query. I'll just close, open SQL underscore direct query. So here I just created this report. I just created a Power Query model using SQL Server direct query. So if I choose that direct query, I have only these two options enabled. The first one is report as usual, the next one is relationship. I don't have a place to see the data because it is going to use Power BI gateway to connect with the data, on-premises data. So it is not taking your data within report or within dataset itself. So we will not have an option to see the data here when we choose direct query option. And what else we can see, what is the difference between direct query and import, in the sense still you can see all the transformations, so you can see everything is enabled, but if you try to apply any of the transformation, capitalized word, so as we discussed, this functionality capitalized each word is not available in SQL Server. So we don't have any function or any T-SQL statements to use this capitalized each word. So that's the reason here you can see the warning message, this step results in a query not supported in direct query mode. So it means we can't use these transformations. So this is going to support only the transformation which is mapped with our SQL Server T-SQL statements like uppercase, filtered rows and a few others. So we have a restriction here. So that is the main comparison between import and direct query. I'll show what is the difference when we compare these two with the live query or live connection. Alright, just close, open, and SSAS underscore live. So this is my another report. I just used SSAS analysis services as a source. So when I choose analysis services, still I will get two options. One is import option and another one is live connection. So we will not have a direct query. So the terminology is going to be different when we choose SQL Server as a source or SSAS as a source. So only for SSAS you can see the live connection option. For rest of the things you will see only import and direct query. So here we don't have any option except this report. So this totally gone. So we don't have any option to see relationship model or data. So we, as I said, datas are going to be connected through gateways, and even Power Query also disabled. So we don't have any option or any functionalities for SSAS. So it's totally limited. So even if I choose this, if I right click, I don't have any option to create a new calculated column. So everything is disabled. So we have to perform all the operations in SSAS cube or while creating a cube or model itself. So we can directly use that model in Power BI desktop and we can start building the report. So we don't want to do any more data cleansing or transformations on top of this data. So this is the difference between import and direct query, then finally live connection. Again I need to show another option is another thing is, so when we choose import option, as I said, it is going to get the data within a report itself. So as it is getting the data, the size of the report is going to increase. So it is taken around 4 MB. So whereas if you choose direct query or live connection, it is going to see it is going to take only that report metadata or that visualizations. So as it is not going to take the data, the size of the report is going to less. So again, when we talk about these sizes, so if you are going with the free version, you will have a limited 10 GB of storage. So you need to accommodate everything within the 10 GB, or you need to buy the another license to increase your storage. So if you created a report with a large number of tables with huge records, then the size of the report is going to increase. So if you publish, it is going to take the same size from your storage. So you need to ensure where you need to use import option and where you need to use direct query and live options. Alright, I just need to show a few other information. Data table. Right. So here, as I said, we can create a data table using DAX script. So let me show. Okay, I just created a data table. So data table is nothing but date and year, quarter, other related date related columns. So these tables will be used for any analysis with fact tables. So we can write a DAX statement like this to get this data table. So we have to create all the columns as like a comma separated one. So once you executed the script, it is going to create all the columns with the data on it. So here, so this is a place where we can create a date table using DAX script. I'll have another option. Here we have a predefined function which is nothing but calendar R2. So when I use this function, it is going to create a column as like this. So once we got a date column, we can start building the another calculated columns like year, quarter from this particular date column. So we have to create manually. If you go with Power Query, you can use M script and you can start build the date table. So this is the M script. So we can build the date table in a Power Query itself or in a DAX query itself. So we have two options. And I said manipulate data. So here we have an option to create or enter data. So if I click enter data, here you can create as much number of columns you want, and you can pass the data manually, and you can name the table. So you can use this table for lookup or any other analysis purpose. So instead of connecting with your data sources, still you can directly create a table with manual entries. Alright, so when we talk about relationship, it is going to show the relationship between the tables. So if you don't have any relationship, so for example, if I don't have any relationship, I can directly connect these two columns, that matching columns. I can drag and drop. It is going to create a relationship. So I can see what is the relationship details, cardinality, and cross filter directions. So here if you go to modeling, under relationship, if you go to modeling, we have option called synonyms. So as I said, these synonyms will be helpful when you choose Power Q&A. Alright, if I click synonyms, I need to select the table. So if I select the table, so these are the columns of the table. So when I type a query and Power Q&A, I have to type the same column name. Otherwise, it is not going to give you the results. So instead of typing this whole name, I just name simply with just product sub. So whenever I choose Power Q&A, I can just pass this query. So I can just pass this name instead of typing whole name. So it is going to give you the results. I'll just show where you can see the result. So this is Power BI Cloud Services, powerbi.com. So under dashboards, you can see different dashboards. For example, if I choose human resources, here you can see an option called ask a question about your data. So here I can ask the questions. It is going to give you the results in a charts or a table of figures. So while asking the questions, you need to know the exact name of the column. So if you are not familiar with the column, you can give the synonyms to the column, and you can use that synonym while asking the question in dashboard. Alright, so I think we almost completed. Let me show the final one. Okay, I just build a simple dashboard. In this dashboard I'll show the another two options. So we have an option to choose the data type. So we have option to choose the data type. On top of the data, alright, so we got some error message. Just need to close this. Alright, let me open it again. So we have to prepare everything on Power Query itself by for example changing the data type. So in my case, in this scenario, I have a data type called URL. So if I go to data here, so I just got Flipkart data. So this is a string. Actually this is a string. It is a URL of the image, and again it is a string. So we don't have any data type except these things: decimal, whole number, text, binary, true, false. So these are the pre-built data types which we have to select for each column. So here I selected string as a data type. So if I just choose string as a data type, if I drag and drop this, I'll get as like this because it is string, but this is going to be a image. So to change this particular column to an image, if it is an image URL, you can go to modeling and you can see the option called data category. Under data category you can see the option called image URL. If you have a URL with an image, and you can use that image, this option image URL, it is going to show the image instead of just hyperlink or URL like that. I have another column which is called product URL. So by default this is also string. I just selected as a web URL. So if I select uncategorized, by default it is going to be uncategorized. If I choose product URL, so I'll be getting like this. So I can't go from this place, so I just make it as a web URL so that it is going to create a hyperlink on it. So I can click this particular URL, it is going to visit that Flipkart page, that respective product. Right. So this is just a simple dashboard using Flipkart data. So I have a different slices, and these are the seller average rating and their average stars, and some of the MRP price with the selling price, then their images. So if I want to buy this phone, actually I can directly click this button, that URL. So it is going to load that Flipkart and I can directly buy this. Alright. Okay, any questions? I think we crossed the time limit. So you can post your questions or you can send your questions to my email ID. I'll try to answer. Thank you. Thanks for everyone for attending this webinar.